Wait for people to join here.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Please come in, come in. We have a very exciting discussion planned for today. How is everyone doing on this very rainy Friday morning?
Yeah.
So, as people join in here, before we actually start into our main discussion topics today, Tom, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you?
Okay. My name is Tom, and I was born in Beijing, and the capital of China, and so that means I'm a city boy, And, and I came to Osaka when I was 8 years old. And it was pretty much a big, incident in my life. And when I came to Japan, I only knew 3 words.
Okay.
And konnichiwa, and itadakimasu, and sayonara.
That's great.
And so first time when I went to school, and I thought, wow, I was treated by my father, because my father told me that words. And why? Because I told konnichiwa to my classmate, and nobody responded in that way. Everybody said just os, like that.
Okay.
And so what is os? So I completely confused that. And when I leaving school, I said sayonara to my classmate. Nobody responded that way, and they all said bye bye. So what is bye bye? In that time I never know any word about English.
Yeah.
If I don't know the goodbye is sayonara in English, and the bye bye used in Japanese.
Yeah.
So I totally I thought, wow, my father told me the wrong things.
But itadakimasu was okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Everyone say that.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
So you're still in Japan now, yes?
Yes, and after that, I basically living in Osaka, and I through my schooling, and after that I studied in university in Beijing, and a little bit different. It was Beijing University, but it is one of university in Beijing, and after that I went to California. And have some short term study, and after that I came to Japan and I started my enterprise. And this now I'm managing school, and the Chinese school, and this school is established by my mother. And she made this school almost 30 years ago, and I received this school almost 21 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was tiny school, but I was confident to make it bigger, and because I had many investigations about learning Chinese in Japan, and I thought the Chinese learning is we're becoming the popular the activities in Japan.
Sure.
Yeah, and so now we became one of the most famous school in Osaka. So now
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And so now I want to make it even famous in Japan, whole Japan. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
I'm curious, as a fellow language industry professional, what is maybe the most exciting point or the biggest thing you have learned while running a language school?
So you mean the language skill, how to
maybe anything about things you've learned about common trends in students or in the industry?
You mean the how to learn the language, you know? So I always, be asked the similar question, and what's the point of learning language?
Okay.
In my case, the Chinese. So I always have 5 advices for my clients.
Okay.
And first is reading.
Okay.
Yes, the reading is the most important things for learning, and not only seeing that, but pronounce it with a voice. But usually people don't want to read, and just seeing that. So I think that's the practical thing you do for learning language, because you have to speak it out from your mouth.
Your mouth muscles have to remember the language too.
Yes. And so I suggest my clients to read it and repeatedly, and so that's the practical thing you do. And the next one is to speak it with a sentence.
Okay.
Not only word. And but people usually want to speak just with 1 word or 2 words. So like where did you go yesterday? Just say, oh, Kyoto. Or when did you arrive in Kyoto? And afternoon, 1 o'clock. Just like that. But I usually told my people, my client, and say it the whole sentence. And but somebody asked questioned me that he said, my Chinese friends don't say in that way. He just say a word. So usually just a word. Because he is native, and so he can speak when he needs. He can speak the proper sentence when he needs. But you have to train yourself. So this is good for training. So speak the whole sentence. The third one is not only knowing, but get used to it. How to get used to it. And people usually want to just know it, and have the knowledge of the language or sentence or the words. And I think this is a kind of desire from like instinct. And because we have that instinct, like curiosity. And so when people satisfied that curiosity, and they usually stop it, and not try to get used to it. It's just the appetite for the food. And when it's satisfied, and they usually abandon it. But I usually told you not just the knowing that, but get used to it. So repeat again. And the next one, the fourth, is don't follow the genius.
Okay, what does that mean?
Because I found, and through my experience, and I found that there's always a few percent of people are just genius.
Okay.
Genius for learning the languages. And or at least we can say they are talented.
Okay.
They got really the big talent for learning language. It is like the most the big ability is to recognize the sound precisely. Really, they can precisely recognize the sound. So that means they can pronounce it. They can imitate it correctly. That's really a big ability. We had that ability when we were infant.
Right.
Yes, and little kids, because I experienced that when I come to Japan, I was 8 years old. I think before 10, we usually remain that ability for the big part of it.
Yeah.
But after 10 years old, it rapidly decrease, and so it is different. And adult people learning language, and the kids learning language.
Yep.
Yeah, but some people, few percent of people still remain that the big part of that ability.
Yeah.
And so for them, learning language is not very difficult.
I completely understand, actually. I started learning Japanese when I was 15. And thinking back and remembering my first class when I was 15 compared to trying to learn new things now at 31, and it's just a totally different mental level. So I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yes. So these, genius people, and usually the big matter is they don't know they are genius. And so they only can look around, and they can see, well, I learned it faster than others. So maybe that because I choose the method is good, better than others. But I found these few percent people, even they choose another method or any method, they can learn very fast. Very well. And so they sometimes say that to the other people, or maybe now they show it in their SNS or at the homepage, and usually other people will when they see it, they will think, well, this is a better way than I did. So, but maybe the most of situation is not because of the method. That is the person is different.
Yeah.
So don't follow the genius.
Okay.
So you'll be trouble.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Yes.
Okay. And then point 5?
Yeah, the point 5. Yes, is don't think require the same the expression with your own language.
That's good.
Yes, and because the expression is different with a different language, and because the grammar, the system is different, so maybe in some expression is really common, really easy to to say in some language, but in other language it is very difficult to explain that. So if you bring that exactly the same expression to other language, it really confuses you. And so I usually told my my student, my client, it is the different game. Like maybe you are a good player in baseball, but now we are playing soccer. So you shouldn't bring the bat into soccer game. So,
that is such a good point and such a good comparison.
I
will admit I am very guilty of that.
Thank you.
Very simple example. In English, just personally, I usually say not bad when I mean that I like something or that it's good, right? This coffee's not bad, something like that. I started saying the same thing in Japanese in a lot of cases, right? これ悪くないね. But one day my wife told me, that's kind of strange. Like, it sounds like actually you don't like it and you're just trying to be polite. You should not do that. So I completely understand that case, and I am guilty of that as well. That's so interesting. So, those are really good 5 points. I like that.
Oh, thank you.
Actually, kind of a related question. I'm very curious. What is the first thing you recommend new Chinese learners to try to remember? Like, for example, when I was starting Japanese when I was 15, the first sentence we learned was "E wa bi desu."
Yeah.
Or like in Japan, the first English everyone learns is "this is a pen."
Yes, yes.
Where do people start with Chinese?
I think it depends on to the situation, and but we in my school and we learn it from the words
Okay.
from using in the class.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so
you start from words, not from like grammar structure.
Yeah, it's of course, with grammar,
Sure.
you have to use that grammar, but it is a simple grammar.
Okay.
And that expression is, we in the first we mostly use it is the expression using in the classroom.
Okay.
Because we don't want people say the Japanese in classroom.
Right.
Yeah, and so why they use the Japanese, because they don't want how to use it, and so we teach the expression in classroom. So these things, and so they can use it in classroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so gradually, and they becoming to use, they get used to it, using the Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense.
Thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I could easily ask questions just about teaching and studying languages all day, but I want to move to some more of our kind of cultural comparison topics.
Yes.
So my first question here, speaking about communication,
yeah,
how would you explain the key differences between, let's say, Chinese, Japanese, and maybe European and American communication styles?
The communication styles, I think the most obvious the differences appears onto the behavior, I think. Yeah. And the Japanese take bow and when they meet. Yeah, but Chinese don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, and what Chinese do is shaking hands.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, and nothing is not which is better, but
sure.
To myself, I think compared to taking bow and the shaking hand is much comfortable. I always think that comfortable. Yeah, but it was before. Now we don't shake hand now, so it's a bad situation for shaking hand now.
Right. That is yeah, one of the unfortunate realities of the current circumstance.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And, yeah. Okay. Please.
Okay. So that's very interesting. And what do you think is, how would I say this? What do you think is the effect of those different styles? Like, let's take the example of bowing versus shaking hands. How does that change the atmosphere in a business situation?
Maybe, because Japanese people as think as really polite people, and also in China, and because they taking bow, and in China, of course, Chinese also has the idea of taking bow, but it only used for the very the formal place.
Okay.
Yeah, and so, but now many people getting to understand the Japanese taking bow, so it's becoming common.
Okay.
And yeah. And
out of curiosity, in Chinese culture, what would be an example of a very formal place where you might naturally use a bow?
Maybe in the some say you have speech. Yeah.
Okay.
And before audience.
Yeah.
And after speech, and usually people would take in bow.
Okay.
Yeah, and or some concert or these kind of things.
Yeah. So maybe a formal event with a big audience or something.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So you said that recently a lot of Chinese professionals are understanding more about Japanese business culture and manners. But for both sides of that communication, what do you think are important steps to build good relations with Chinese business partners?
Yes, the most thing is I think it is learning language. I think is
Okay.
is most thing. Also learning the history.
Really? Okay.
Yes, and especially the modern history.
Mhm.
Yeah, and because it gave the very big effect to the modern Chinese.
Sure.
Yeah. So about the history, and people usually want to learn the ancient history, the old
Right.
history. Yeah, it is interesting, but the modern history is directly related to the modern or the present politics,
Yeah.
or thought of people, and or maybe customs. Yeah, so learning the modern history is, I think, is very important.
Very interesting. So if people understand that sort of modern history, what do you think is the biggest benefit they gain from that? How does that help them best relate or understand other people?
Yes. For example, the Chinese the social system,
Oh, yeah.
and maybe the usually the people would think the Chinese is the Chinese social is oppressed, very oppressed,
Right.
by the government.
Right.
Yeah, and but
I think that's a bit of an outdated stereotype now.
yes, but if you are living in China and you will feel, and you just feel same as the other countries.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But in some cases, for example, you can't search using Google in China. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and maybe you can say some bad word for the president of the United States.
Right.
Yeah, but you cannot say the bad things to the president of China.
Right.
Yeah, this is it has the differences.
Sure.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think, in my opinion, and because this is because you should see through the Chinese the modern history.
Yeah.
Because China has so much populations, and there's so much amount of people, and they think they have so much different thoughts, even religion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the religion is a big yes, it is problem, but also China has a big freedom for religion, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, and through that history, and now the 30% of Chinese are the Muslims. So
really, 30%?
Yes. And,
wow.
It's according to the history from the ancient time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are many Muslims and Christians and Buddhists and Confucius, and many days the religion.
Yeah.
And but you can worship any gods, any have any religion, but one thing you cannot exceed is the emperor.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to accept the rule of from the emperor.
Yeah.
So in that, the base, that is the base of the Chinese politics.
Okay.
And so you accept that, you can have any religions.
Okay.
But if you want to do the things against the emperors, it's really dangerous to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's almost the same. The situation and now also even in the present time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so why China has that situation? Because it's so much people, so because there's so much people, so people very difficult to have the common ideas, the common and the customs. So it needs some kind of authorities like the emperor.
Yeah.
So you can do anything, but this is untouchable.
Yeah.
So
it reminds me a little bit of kind of like a ancient Rome type of structure of like you can be yourself on this local level. Just don't forget that above all, you need to be loyal to the country.
Yes, something like that. So if China don't have that, so it could bring the big chaos to the country. So that's what we experience. China experienced in the just 100 years to maybe several years ago.
Yep.
So China was trying to have the democratic system like the European side. Yeah, but all failed because I think the European people have that the common idea related to the Christianity.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is important for the European countries, and even you have different ideas, but we all agree with the God or maybe Bible. Yeah,
I think also it's just a lot of a smaller place and fewer people, just probably easier to manage.
Yeah, maybe, and but China, there's so many people, crowding in this area, so it's very difficult to let people have the same ideas. So so I think China needs this kind of system. So it's in order to gather the power of the country. Yes,
that's a very interesting observation. And so I guess that's why it's important to understand not only the ancient history but also the recent history. Then
yes, I think so.
You learn how people think. That is very interesting. Actually, speaking of this kind of diversity of maybe different local cultures, are there any interesting examples of Chinese regional culture that maybe most people would not be familiar with?
Yes, and usually Chinese people say we divide into the north part of the south part.
Okay.
And there's 90% of people how to say defined to the Han people, and it's a majority. Majority people. Yeah, 90% of Chinese are Han people.
Right.
And so others are 55% of minority people, but 90% of population are same. Really same. It's different. the part, north part and south part usually have the different cultures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for example, the tumbling,
Okay.
the gyoza, yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, and it is very famous food of Chinese food, and
Okay.
but me also I'm north part of Chinese.
Yeah.
And, but to south part of Chinese, it is not common to eat the
Oh,
gyoza.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah. But of course now they can eat anywhere. But from the customs, if you say that the custom, they are not used to eat the tumbling.
Yeah.
Southward.
Wow. I
Yeah.
never knew that. That is
Yeah.
that is very interesting. Okay.
Yes, and also yes, the alcohol.
Oh, okay.
Usually my client ask me and how to behave in the table, and
Yeah.
and if you go to the north part of China, they usually drink the alcohol is very strong.
Okay.
Yeah, so like vodka, and
Okay.
over 50% of
Yeah, like
alcohol.
what is it? Baijiu, right?
Baijiu,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So you should take care of that.
Yeah.
And,
I have a what is it? Like the most common multi, I think it is.
yes.
Yeah, I have a bottle of that, and I do not touch it often.
Okay, yes. So,
It's strong stuff.
Yes. Usually my client gave me this strong liquor to me, because their client, Chinese client, send it to them.
Yeah.
But they are not used to drink it, so they gave it to me.
Yeah.
Yes. And
okay, so that's northern culture.
Yes, and the south part is the alcohol is not very strong. Yeah, so it's I think it's much comfortable to have to have the supper or the dinner.
That's so interesting. Actually, this is another question I would have, especially talking about kind of connecting business and local culture. How do people build relationships for business? Is it kind of like Japan where it's like nomikai after work, or is there something different?
Oh yes, the nomikai. Yes, this is actually it is not common in China.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and for Chinese, the working is kind of separated with their ordinary life, and so but now I heard some of the companies, Chinese companies, also sometimes do that, and in order to have more intimate feelings between the workers.
Interesting.
Yes, and but not so common like Japan.
Okay.
Yeah, and but if you say the business, and if you are invited to come to Chinese the company, I think also they will set this dinner for you.
Yeah.
And so it's if you see that situation, it's almost same with Japanese. Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So if people have a dinner meeting with a Chinese client, for example, what are the important things they should remember?
Yeah, and the sheet, and the sheet has its own meaning, and so the place of the sheet.
Ah, okay. So where everyone is sitting.
Yeah, I think this is similar with Japanese style, and
Sure.
The furthest place from the door usually just seems as the most important
Okay.
place. Yes, and it is the same Japan and China, but the difference is who will take that seat.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
In Japan, I think mostly the people will let the guest sit on that seat because it's it means you are the most important person. And but in China, usually the host will sit in the seat.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so what is the host is who pay the money for
Oh.
the yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that is because the Chinese really, see important thing to invite or to dine people, your guest, and so give the entertainment the guests. So it is the honor. It seems as a big honor to Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah, and
that's interesting.
Yes, so usually the host sit in the best place.
Yeah,
and,
because they're kind of like the MC for the night.
yes, yeah, and the guest, the best place for guests is usually besides to the host.
Oh.
So they can usually have the chairs and talk the things.
Yeah.
And so usually if Japanese the businessman and go to the dinner, usually they will sit beside to the host.
Oh, that's so interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And but there I experienced some exceptions, and once a time or a few times I was guided to sit in the the opposite the place with the host. So usually that place as seen as the low rank place, and but the host, the president of the company, explained that to me. So he said, you may feel weird of this, but I let you sit that place because I want to talk to you more easily.
Yeah.
And want other people hear so what is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he explained that to me. So I think it depends on to the case. Yeah, and maybe some person not very care about that which place is for which person. So maybe he just like this person, he just like how to say the rational.
Okay. Yeah.
The rational reason, and
sure.
And so they want to have the more practical the conversations.
Yeah. So there is maybe a common tradition, but also it can be very case by case.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
So I think the best thing is you just wait to be guided. which shit. So because you're a guest, so people would never leave you in front of doors.
Right.
Yes.
So someone will always tell you where to go.
Yes. And after and also if the dinner was started, and the important thing is who will take the first bite.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Usually the host will take the first bite.
Interesting.
Yes, because he is like the boss.
Okay.
Yeah. So he take one bite, the first bite, and so other people can eat that.
Okay.
But sometimes they will recommend you and or suggest you to take the first bite because you are a guest.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think also the best way is you just waiting, and the people will say that, oh, please take the first bite, and so that means the start of the dinner.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is very interesting to learn.
Yeah.
I will keep that in mind.
Yeah. And also the cheers, and they will have the cheers, and because Chinese table around the people, the table, and so it's difficult to have really the contact with the glass to glass. So usually people will use the table, and they will use having the glass and knock the table.
Oh, yeah, that's very convenient.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that means even the fireplace from you. So you also you can have the chair with that person.
Yeah.
But
I like that.
But in my opinion, I think at least one time it's better to have at least one time it's better you go that person's place and have a chair, and I think you can express your respect or and also I have to talk to you because many Japanese students very worry about to drink the alcohol. They worry, be forced to drink.
Okay.
Yeah. So usually hear about that things.
Yeah, I have heard that too.
Yes. So yeah, it is true, and but also it has some path through it, and you can say 随意.
Okay.
随意, yeah. 随意 is the same as the Japanese as I write it in the kanji.
Okay.
Here, and yeah, and so can you see it?
A little bit. We had it for a minute there.
Yeah.
It's very close.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. So they're almost the same as the Japanese, and so it's pronounced 随意.
随意. Okay.
随意, yes. And so it means as you like.
Okay.
Yeah. And so now, because people much more polite than before, so they not like the old people, and they usually force you to drink.
Okay.
So people you usually say that 随意. So or they will say the 请 means the please. So 请随意. Yeah. And so that means you can of course you can drink a whole glass, and also you just drink one bite.
Okay.
And so how to get that word? So the point is you say it first.
Okay.
You have the choice. You can say it, please, 随意.
Yeah, you say it to everyone else, and they will say it to you as well.
Yes, of course they will respond to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that the point, you can get the allowance from the people. You can drink as you like.
I will remember that. 随意. Is that it?
随意. Yes.
随意. Okay.
Yeah.
I will remember that.
Yeah. So you can use it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So my last question for you before we take questions from the listeners.
Yeah.
As a trilingual person, do you have any advice for language studying?
Oh, yes. Actually, I think myself is a quadruple language.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because Chinese, Japanese, English. Okay, and Osaka Ben. Yes. Yeah,
I like
love,
that. I like that.
I love osakabe, you know.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm very bad at it, but I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, but the advice is also the same as the advice, the 5 advice I told before.
Yeah.
And I recommend people don't humiliate to speak it out.
Yes.
And, yes, and usually, especially Japanese people, some kind of forced to be polite has that kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is important, but you are not native. This is big point. You're not native.
Yep.
Of course, you have wrong expression.
Yep.
And also the people are not, maybe little people are, some want to say some tricks to you, but most of the people are very, understandable.
Yeah.
And they will.
People want to help you.
Yes, really. So don't afraid to have the wrong expression.
Yep.
And so I think it's important to speak it and have the conversation, have the communications.
Yeah, that is such a great piece of advice, and I completely agree with that.
Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, well, we've got about 10 minutes left, and if there are any questions from our audience, I would love to open it up to that now. So you can use the chat tool or the Q&A tool, and if you have any questions for Tom about anything we've heard so far, please let's hear it and we can discuss. And while we wait to see what comes in, I just have a random question that I'm very curious about. Going back a little bit to the food and drinks questions. Do you have anything that you recommend for people to try?
Chinese food?
Yeah, or drinks. Oh, except for the multi, because that's scary.
Drink. So you mean the drinks?
Sure.
Oh, the drink. Oh, actually, I had the most delicious taste. I feel the most delicious taste of the liquor is one of the came to the Shandong Peninsula.
Okay.
Peninsula and Peninsula, Shandong Peninsula, and is the name is I forgot the exact name is the alcoholic is 70%, 70% of
that's
alcoholic.
Nice.
That's really strong, and but when you tasted it, and I feel really really delicious. It smells really good. Yes. So if you have the chance, I recommend you to taste that. But be careful, it's really strong.
I will remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, lots of great questions coming. So first question.
Yeah.
Japanese speakers tend to care too much about keigo when speaking languages.
Yeah.
I know seniority is important in China. How much should people care when communicating with Chinese people?
So about the keigo,
Yeah, about keigo.
Actually, Chinese doesn't have the system of the keigo like Japanese.
Okay.
So I think Japanese always have to care about which which I have to use.
Yeah.
Because there are lots of words mean why, but Chinese is only one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, only one. So, and of course there is some expression for the respect or but for the foreigners, I think it's you just follow the formal or follow the how to say the ordinary expression.
Okay.
It's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if there is no keigo in Chinese, what are your suggestions to be polite in that kind of business case?
It's I think it's a behavior, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
And usually, some Japanese say the Chinese people say things very direct, and but actually not. And people usually choose very carefully to choose the expression or the word to use to the other persons. It's the same, I think. So don't have the negative expression, and and also Chinese people want to respond quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't be negative, respond quickly.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah. So
right.
so that's why Chinese people usually respond very quickly, but they say, oh, I couldn't do that, I can't do that, but you said you can do that. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So that's many maybe the difference between the Japanese and Chinese.
Okay, great. Yeah. Let's see, our next question. Both of you are such great public speakers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do you have any advice for how to speak in English with confidence in front of an audience? How do you stay so relaxed?
You mean me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe it's going to my character.
Okay.
Yeah. And but the important thing is I really, enjoy this opportunity.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah. And I really, want to, I love to have the conversation, and even in Chinese and Japanese and, English. So sometimes I think that the conversation with somebody else and maybe using English. Yeah, because I have some, friends who speak English. So I try to, think, so what kind of articles I want to speak to him.
Okay.
And yeah, so this kind of maybe that kind of training can increase your confidence and just for speaking.
That's a great idea. I like that. All right. Our next question here. I often hear China is becoming very hot in technology, and many entrepreneurs are starting new businesses in China. What would be a typical challenge or opportunity that Japanese companies and entrepreneurs must be aware of if they want to join the game to do business with them?
Wow, this is a difficult question. the IT, the IT technology, and it's really, really hot in China. And also my one of my friends, he is doing the drone. Yeah, and he's a worker with in the Japanese company, but they're also doing the drone business. And so China also have the advanced technology with drone. So he now is also learning that technology, and so he's now staying in China, and get many information from that. And this kind of, and also the environment technology is I think the next maybe the big wave for the business. And because the environment problem is really the pollution, how to
okay.
Yes. And I heard that in English, ecocide, like that word. Maybe it's wrong. And so it's how to decrease the pollution, and how to make the environment better.
Sure.
And it's a big problem for China.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of my friends are doing that, and they want to how to say that food without I forgot that
food without
please just a moment, please.
No problem.
Okay. Oh, agricultural chemical. And
yes. Food grown without chemicals. Yes.
The chemical free.
Yes.
The food. So I think this things related to the environment is the next stage must come to business.
Yeah. So like agricultural and environmental technology.
Yes.
Very interesting. Great. And then our last question.
Yeah.
When meeting someone from China for the first time, is there anything that people should try or be careful to do to give a good first impression?
Oh, yeah. It's I think it's just to be casual and and be. It's important to be confident to yourself.
That's a good note.
Yeah, and maybe you are not a good speaker for Chinese, and maybe you are not very well know about the Chinese, but you still can express your maybe sincerity. Yeah, and I really want to have conversation, or I really want to have a good relation with you.
Yeah.
So maybe be confident.
Okay.
Yes.
I like that.
I think this is very important.
Be confident and enjoy the conversation.
Yes.
All right. We got one last question. We have just enough time to answer this.
Yeah.
So there are quite a huge population of people from China living in Japan.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if there is any common online platform that people find and share important information or support each other as a community. And if so, I want to know about it.
Oh, yes. So the Chinese, between the Chinese people living in Japan.
Yeah. Is there a common platform?
So I think if you want to try that, you must use the WeChat.
WeChat. Yes.
Yes. WeChat is really common in Chinese people.
Yeah.
And so almost now become the must item for the have a relationship.
Yep.
So sometimes people because some people ask me, so WeChat, he believes that WeChat, the information will send to the government. We're not sure about that, so we're not sure about that, but so much population,
Sure.
Trillion of people.
Too much data to read everything.
Yeah, so it's too much. Maybe some information is, somebody is looking for that, but how can they, look for whole, information? So,
right.
And they also, if they cares, they only cares about the word against the government, maybe. But
sure.
They don't care about the business. Because so I think it's don't worry about that.
Okay.
Chat with the Chinese people, and so you can find many such a group for have conversations, and many group for that.
Great. So WeChat is the platform you want to check out.
Yes.
Great. Well, I think that is about all the time we have this morning. Tom, thank you so much for joining us. This was a lot of fun, and I really learned a lot.
Thank you too.
Yeah. So next time I go drinking with people, "sui" is the phrase I need to remember.
Yes.
I'll keep that in mind. Yeah. Thanks so much for all of your advice about Chinese culture and about language learning in general. Great to talk to you, and I hope we can speak again sometime.
Yes, hope it, and thank you for your you gave me this great opportunity. I really had fun.
My pleasure. Yes. Well, for everyone who's been listening, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great Friday. Have a lovely weekend, and we'll see everyone again soon.
Okay, see you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes.